There we go. What is going on, guys? It is official. E3 2022 is canceled. There's not going to be an E3 this year, digital or physical. It's a wrap. So this is kind of wild because, it seems that the ESA had pushed it back the last few months and everything as far as planning and as far as what they were going to be doing in terms of E3 for this year. And they kind of left everybody in the dark. And now it comes out. There was an email sent to Will Powers, basically said that there's not going to be an E3. It's really, really disappointing. Hassan, I see you in the chat there. I know, man, this is really disappointing, but there is going to be, of course, Summer Game Fest to look forward to that Geoff Keighley will be hosting. And it's actually, speaking of Summer Games Fest, it's actually kind of curious the timing that was put out about this. So whenever Will Powers put out his tweet that E3 2022 was indeed canceled, Geoff Keighley went ahead and tweeted just a simple emoji wink on his Twitter timeline. So the timing of this was absolutely impeccable. It was like, what was planned? Like, what's going on here? So, and I'll give you guys the details. I'll break that all down for you guys here, whenever I show you. But man, I gotta say, the timing was very, very oddly. It's just very strange timing whenever it came to this. So, yeah, let me go ahead and I'm going to bring this up here. This is the tweet, of course, that Will Powers put out. He said, just got the email. It's official that E3 Digital is officially canceled for 2022. Lots of mixed feelings about this. So there it was. And we were just like, wow, okay. So you can see the retweet count still going up as we look at it here live. But it's kind of disappointing the fact that we won't have an E3 for this year. I am excited to obviously see what Summer Game Fest does have planned for this year. Summer Game Fest I thought was kind of, it was good last year, but I thought it was a bit disappointing. There were some blockbuster games that I would have liked to see during Summer Game Fest, and of course there were also some publishers that were missing. So I would love to see, as far as Summer Game Fest goes, if they have, if it's more of a, just a bigger event, more of an E3 type feel, if you will. So yeah, once that tweet went down, as you can see, the likes are just growing as I'm up here reporting this information. As that tweet went down, everyone's reaction just basically exploded here. And, you can see Tom Henderson here. He's just kind of like, oh no. Anyway, it's just like kind of like whatever. There's a very large group of people that are under the impression that, hey, we don't need an E3 because of the fact that these publishers, they can go ahead and have their show and announce exactly what games to come to expect within, during the coming years, whenever they want. You see PlayStation does their events all the time now. Every few months, we get a PlayStation State of Play. We don't get announcements very often from Xbox, but when we do, it's in the same general format. So now that these publishers have seen that they can do this and this works, a need for an E3 just seems like it slowly diminishes and everything. So, and then IGN reached out. Rebecca Valentine from IGN, she reached out. I have her article right here. She reached out to the ESA, talking about like if it's going to be coming back. And apparently there's a slight chance that E3 2023 might return. I don't know. This is kind of all up in the air here. So here's Rebecca's article here. She says, after previously canceling its in-person E3 2022 event, the ESA has now informed its partners that there will be no digital event equivalent this year either, meaning that E3 2022 has been fully canceled. The news broke, of course, through a tweet from Razer PR lead Will Powers, which I showed you guys, who has said an email had been sent out announcing the cancellation of a digital E3 event, and IGN has independently verified the contents of the email as well. The ESA had initially planned for an in-person E3 event this year after having no event in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic and a digital one in 2021. However, this was canceled in January, with the ESA at the time unable to make a public statement on whether or not there would be a digital equivalent. According to sources speaking to IGN at the time, discussions around E3 had been fraught throughout the year, with third parties normally involved finding the ESA's ongoing silence regarding their plans frustrating. And that's the thing. The ESA just kind of leaves everybody in the dark. Is there going to be an E3? Is there not going to be an E3? Is it going to be digital? Is it going to be what's physical? What's going on? What's the plan? They leave everybody in the dark on this. And even so, they don't even announce to the gaming, the industry, aside from the people they're planning on attending, what's going on. And, it's just like, ESA, what are you doing? As far as the Entertainment Software Association goes, these guys should be the ones to let us know this information right up front, not let the industry insiders know first. Let everybody else know. Why would you leave us in the dark, not knowing exactly what's happening whenever it comes to E3 and its future plans, but yet go ahead and tell your industry insiders, and then we find out through them via Twitter. It's just kind of outrageous to me, don't you guys think? Like, it's unbelievable. And so, according to sources speaking to IGN at the time, discussions around E3 had been fraught throughout the year, as I mentioned, and third parties normally involved finding the ESA's ongoing silence regarding their plans frustrating, completely frustrating. Like, what are the plans? Because there's a lot of money circulating around this, right? You people and fans, they want to know exactly, what the details are as far as E3 goes. And if you don't have any kind of information on this, people want to book their flights, hotel rooms, all that stuff. All that stuff remains in flux until you find out what the plans are going to be, if it's going to be in person, digital, what have you. And with them just kind of holding things at bay and not saying anything, it's kind of selfish, man. I got to call the ESA out on this. Honestly, I think it's a bit selfish as far as, their planning goes. They're better than this. Now, sources connected to the event tell IGN that discussions about a possible digital equivalent have been ongoing ever since, but with no strong momentum to drive them. Instead, the ESA seems to be making plans to regroup for a larger comeback in 2023. IGN has reached out to the ESA for comment. I'm sure the ESA will probably get back to them, and Rebecca will probably, be able to update this article, because I've reached out to the ESA in the past before regarding E3 plans, and they were able to get back to me as well. And as well as a couple years ago, there were mass shootings going on across the country, and senators were blaming the video game industry for the shooting. And I reached out to them regarding that information. So, they were able to get back to me. So at the end of the day, I'm sure the ESA will get back to IGN on this, and hopefully we'll see maybe a bigger update. So there's no E3 for June 2022. That's right. Yeah, no E3 this year. That's it. However, there is going to be a Summer Game Fest event being hosted by Geoff Keighley. Now, Geoff Keighley, of course, he's, basically the biggest video game journalist within the industry. I mean, he hosts the Video Game Awards. He hosts Summer Game Fest. I mean, he does so many things for the industry, and it's great. But the timing of his tweet, I don't know if you guys saw this. So you had the tweet go out earlier on this afternoon from, the tweet that went out earlier after this afternoon. And then you had Geoff Keighley tweet this out like 32 minutes exactly ago. We're excited to share. The Summer Game Fest will return this June with a slate of events. We'll be producing another kickoff live show with announcements, news, and first looks. Much more to share in the coming weeks, along with some very cool elements for 22. So it's just like, okay, this is cool. You're going to have a Summer Game Fest, but like, it seems like Geoff Keighley knew that this was going to be canceled at the end of the day based on his timing of his tweets. Because like I said, this news just dropped probably within like 32 minutes, 45 minutes ago. As far as, Will Powers going ahead and you look at Nibel with this, the whole slap thing going on. That's hilarious. But, Will Powers goes out, he tweets this information like 45 minutes or so ago. And right whenever he tweeted it, and I'm going to see if hopefully Geoff Keighley didn't delete the tweet. And I can show you guys exactly what he did here. The timing was insane. Yeah, here it is, an hour ago. All he did was send out a wink, just a wink. That's it. So it's like, Geoff, did you know that this was going to go down? Like, did you know this cancellation was coming? Literally within seconds of Will tweeting that there was not going to be an E3 for 2022, Geoff Keighley went ahead and tweeted this wink. And it's just like, wow. So, and then of course the internet has a ton of fun with this, even me joining it, of course. But yeah, this is wild, man. Like, I don't know. It's cool that there's going to be a summer game fest. I'm happy that there's at least going to be something. There has to be at least something, as far as the video game industry goes, some kind of event during the summertime, because it's just quiet during the summer. Game releases typically come in the fall. That's when the industry really ramps up with their releases. And so during the summertime, announcements were, before E3, announcements were pretty much quiet. There weren't any huge announcements or anything that went down until E3 came about. And, ever since back, I don't even know what year it came out. E3 has been like, the prime essential event every single summer. And now that there's not going to be one, it's like, well, what's going to be going down this summer? Well, you have Summer Game Fest. And then, like I mentioned, as far as events go, it just seems that we don't need an E3 necessarily anymore, because these digital events are able to hold their announcements, show off their games and what have you, and they're a lot less expensive. So that's one thing that the pandemic did bring about, the fact that it may not be necessary to have an E3 anymore. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn about this. I've been to E3 at least, let me see, I've been to E3 3 times. And, I got to say it was an awesome event. At least I got the opportunity to attend it in person. But, it's kind of bittersweet that it doesn't look like it's going to be happening again here anytime soon, right? Because, being there, it's E3, right? It's the biggest video gaming event in the world. There's nothing like it. To describe it, it's like a giant video game arcade. It's insane. And, as media, whenever I went, you go, you have all these appointments that you go to, you get to see a lot of closed door events as far as what games are going to be coming out here within the, within the coming months and within the coming years. And it's fantastic, but it's kind of a hassle. It's unorganized chaos. I'm kind of running around making sure I get to my event from here to there and everything. And, there's tens of thousands of people. You got to hustle around to get around them to make sure you get to your event on time, or else, hey, your spot's taken. You didn't get here on time. And it's more than anything, it kind of seems like a hassle, right? And, if you're able to get on these media lists and see these games, maybe like if you get an opportunity to report on these games with like a, like with a trailer, or even with like a Zoom session showing exactly what you can look forward to as far as media goes with these games within the next few months or so, there's no reason why you have to hold an in-person event. It works just fine digitally. And so at the end of the day, it looks like we don't necessarily need to have an event as far as E3 2022 goes. So that's the news for that. That's the information for that. I'm kind of surprised that it went down, so early as far as the announcement goes. We're still a few months away from June. I mean, we're basically in April. April 1st is tomorrow, obviously. We're still a couple more months away. Seems as though they could have maybe thought about this a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it's really interesting. It's very, very interesting to see where they're going with this. And as far as the announcement goes, it's kind of clumsy, I would call it, of the ESA to give this information out, through an email to industry insiders, and the rest of the video game industry, the rest of the fans find out through Twitter, because otherwise they wouldn't find out, Thankfully, IGN picked up this news, reported on it. Otherwise, we wouldn't know what's going on, right? We find out through Twitter. I don't know, man. You got to be better than that, ESA. At the end of the day, you have to be better than that. So that's the news. That's the information on that, guys. I just wanted to get this information out to you guys as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Who knows if there will be an E3 2022. or I'm sorry, at the E3 2023 next year. They say that they're looking forward to it, but who knows, man? They could be just saying that just to, just to save face, right? So who knows what they're going to do? We have no idea. There's still many months away from E3 2023, and we don't even know if they have the lease for the Los Angeles Convention Center where E3 is being typically held. We don't even know if they're going to be able to hold it there or not. So, because the last I heard, that lease was up at the end of this year for E3 to be hosted there. So, we don't know exactly if it's going to be held there or not. Hopefully it is, but we don't know for sure. So, they're up here announcing things and they don't even know, in stone if it's going to be returning or not in 2023. So, when they say that, I hold it with a grain of salt. I think let's kind of wait and see exactly what happens, and I guess look forward to the events that are going to be held down by Geoff Keighley at Summer Game Fest 2023. Should be really exciting. Really looking forward to that. So really should be interesting to see exactly what goes down with that. Beliza's in the chat there. Yeah, man. No E3, man. No E3 for this year. This is crazy. I would have thought that they would have, held something digitally at the least. I mean, I know COVID cases are down, in this country, in the United States, at least they are down. I think they're down worldwide as well, except for maybe a couple other countries, maybe a couple third world countries possibly. But at the end of the day, in most places, cases are down. And, I don't see a reason as to why you wouldn't be able to hold E3 safely. So, yeah, and that's the thing. If there's any official reason as to why exactly it's not happening, that's the thing. So on Twitter, I actually reached out. So, Rebecca Valentine, she had this article right here. Let me pull it up. Boop. And she was talking about how it was officially canceled. She reached out to the ESA and everything and was able to independently confirm the email. She probably had Will email the email to her, send the email to her, and she was able to independently verify that email herself. I tweeted to Rebecca asking her exactly, what was the reasoning as to why, there isn't going to be, an E3 and everything. And unfortunately, she didn't get back to me. I'm very curious on that. As far as that goes, I'm just checking and seeing if anybody got back to her. So here's my tweet there. I said, Rebecca, did they give any reason as to why they decided to cancel this year digitally and physical? And, she didn't reply back to me, but I'm kind of curious as to why they did decide to cancel. Just seems kind of strange and random. And then, like I was saying earlier on, Blaza, we find out this information from Will Powers, who's obviously in the industry, works for Razer as a PR lead there. We find out that information through him on Twitter. And, if Twitter didn't exist, I don't even know, we wouldn't probably find out this information probably for hours or days on end, right? It's just kind of weird. So I'm really sad to see that E3 was canceled. Every year I love watching these events. Maybe Geoff will do something instead. Yeah, it has already been told that Geoff is going to be holding Summer Game Fest for 2022. He actually put out tweets about this. The timing on this was impeccable. I was talking about that a little earlier on. So he put out a tweet not too far after that, saying that, he was excited to share that the Summer Game Fest will return this June with a slate of events. We'll be producing another kickoff live show of announcements, news, and first looks, and much more to share in the coming weeks, along with some very cool new elements for 2022. So we're going to get some kind of event. We still have Summer Game Fest to look forward to in place of E3 2022. But what was really interesting about this, guys, was the fact that whenever he put out that tweet, and whenever I say he, I'm talking about Will Powers, the person who said that E3 was officially canceled, the guy who works for Razer. Whenever he put that tweet out, literally seconds, minutes maybe, Geoff Keighley put this tweet out. A wink emoji. And that's all it was. And it's like, wait, Geoff, did you know that this was going to be announced? Did you know that this was going to be canceled? And it's just like, it just aligns everything perfectly for Geoff Keighley to hold his Summer Game Fest event. It's like he's just sitting there smiling with a wink on his face, tongue in cheek and everything, man. It's just like, you, sir, knew that this was going to go down and this was going to be happening. So it's really, really interesting, the timing of this tweet, as far as as far as this information goes. Like, because like I said, we'll put out that tweet. I'm actually, you know what? Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up the exact timestamp. Okay, so Geoff Keighley's tweet was at 2:31 p.m. Okay, so 2:31 p.m. Geoff Keighley puts out this wink, right? And then, well, if I can find his tweet, I think I retweeted it. I don't feel like searching. I know Nibel had it though too. So let me see. So that was 2:31. And then, okay. Yeah, there it is. 2:25, Will put that tweet out. So 6 minutes later, he puts out the information. You know, he puts out that winky face, right? Like 6 minutes later, it's just like, man, it's kind of soon, don't you think, bro? Like, crazy. Beliza says everyone is going to Geoff. E3 doesn't get enough developers. Maybe they don't want to do this twice in such a short time. Yeah, that could be true. That could be it. And at the same time, it's like, why would you have two events that close in proximity to each other? It's like Summer Game Fest and E3, you know, in terms of dates and everything, were like, oh man, they were within like a couple days of each other. Why would you do something like that? It doesn't make sense, right? I'm talking about the developers and don't want to do it twice. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, why would they want to go ahead and showcase their games 2 times in a row, right? Within days of each other. It just doesn't make sense to have that. So maybe Summer Game Fest will indeed be the new E3. It's quite possible, you know. Like I said, the timing was just insane. I was just kind of blown away by the timing of the tweets with 6 minutes of each other. It's just like, wow, you really didn't want to waste any time and capitalize on that publicity, did you, Geoff? So looking forward to Summer Game Fest nonetheless. But you know, I'm kind of interested to see exactly what's going to be held during Summer Game Fest. Now that becomes the that show now gets the absolute showcase for sure, and everyone will be looking for towards that to see exactly what games are going to be shown off during Summer Game Fest. I'm really looking forward to it. Last year, I was kind of disappointed by Summer Game Fest. I thought the games could have been a lot better than what they were. You know, they were pretty good, but I thought they could have been a lot better. Maybe it was just kind of like difficult to get all the publishers and everything together. This year, I'm sure it's going to be a lot bigger event for sure. At least something, but yeah, it could be possible E3 is going to be replaced. Yeah, going to be replaced or just completely out of sorts, right? You know, I just feel like, you know, it's coming to a point where, you know, it's just coming to a point now whenever it comes to E3 that it's just, you know, not happening anymore. It's been the last couple years ever since, you know, I want to say a couple years ago, whenever they announced that they go public, because they were like, there's big changes coming. And back then, even there were talks saying that maybe E3 shouldn't be a thing every single year. You know, it's expensive. It's a hassle to get your flight. It's a hassle to get your hotel, you know, and they're real picky as far as choosing who gets to go. You know, like I said, I got the opportunity to go 3 times in my journalism career back whenever I used to write all the time for video games, back with different publishers or different publications that I worked with. I had the opportunity to go 3 times, and guys, it's not like everybody can go. Like, it was so difficult to get your, you know, to get your name in the hat to get the opportunity to go to E3 as a journalist. Video game websites, you had to have upwards of like 10,000 page views a month. That was one of the main requirements for it. You had to be on Alexa rankings. You had to be, displayed there as far as that goes. You had to have active reviews, active news. Just the site had to be active all the time. And even then, it's like, okay, you're accepted, but you still got to shell out the money for the flight. You still got to shell out the money for the hotel because, a small video game website, they're not making enough finances in order to cover that. You're shelling that out yourself. So, it made things difficult at the end of the day. So maybe, you kind of think about those type of things, and it's expensive, man. It's a lot of money, and it's a big hassle to get these hotel rooms because as soon as it would go, for sale, as soon as as soon as the announcement was made, once once the E3 dates were announced, the hotel rooms, they were gone just like that in Los Angeles. And if you've never been to LA, there's so many freaking people in LA, and the traffic is insane. It's nuts. So, you're not going to be getting a car. You're going to be Ubering. You're going to be lifting everywhere you need to go. Or you're going to be taking the LA Metro by train, to get to where you need to go from the hotel. It's just like the travel. It's just, I don't know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. So good old times when E3 was still a convention for gamers. Exactly. Exactly. And, and then they gave the opportunity for fans to go, but then for them to go, man, it was like a fortune. You had to pay all of this money up front. I can't remember exactly how much it was for fans to go, but I remember when they announced that, and I was just like, oh, here we go. This is going to be so expensive, and there's going to be so many people bickering and complaining about how expensive it is, and rightfully so. It's extremely expensive. And then not everyone got the opportunity to go because those passes would sell out. And then for journalists like myself at the time, it was even more of a hassle to get from point A to point B because we're trying to get to our appointments so we can write articles based on what we're seeing and make content like this based on what we're seeing at those events, at those closed door demos. And we're trying to get through, and these people that have purchased their, they purchased their ticket to go to E3. They're fans. They're there for the event to just enjoy it for themselves. They're just there. Oh yeah. It's kind of like a vacation. It's like, yeah, for you, but I'm here on business. I'm trying to get some work done. I'm trying to get some articles published for my website that I'm working for. I'm trying to get some content for a video to publish out to my audience here on YouTube, that sort of thing. It made things even more complex. You know what I mean? So it was frustrating for sure. This last couple years that I went, it was frustrating to be able to get to point A to point B because there are so many people in that convention center. In the LA Convention Center, pull it up right now. Go to lacc.com or .org or whatever it is right now and check it out for yourself. It's a huge complex. It's absolutely enormous. So many events have been held at the Los Angeles Convention Center, and it's huge. So I don't know. Is Summer Game Fest? That's the question. Is Summer Game Fest the new E3? And by and large, I think it is, guys. Not per se exactly, but as far as events go, video game events go during the summertime, yeah, I think it is. I really do. I think Summer Game Fest will be the new E3. Now, will it be able to hold the stature that E3 had throughout all those years? I mean, I can remember watching E3 way back when, watching GameSpot, streaming it live there because they were like the premier event, and then, premier as far as the event went. And then E3, or I'm sorry, and then IGN, they had their streams as well. And it was just like, man, this is so cool. It would be so cool to get an opportunity to go here. And boy, I never knew I was going to ever get the opportunity to go. And I did. But, it's just like, holy cow, this is crazy, right? This is E3. This is the event, the big event. And Summer Game Fest just doesn't seem to have that oomph, that it factor quite yet. Because, well, it's all digital. It's all online. And, I think it will if it has the AAA games that we're most looking forward to, the mostly anticipating. And then on top of that, games that haven't been announced quite yet. You know what I mean? Games that, you're thinking maybe, maybe we'll see some kind of announcement on this. And then there it is. You get the announcement and it's like, yes, or something that we completely don't expect, something completely random, don't expect to see gets announced. That's something that we need to see at Summer Game Fest. That is what will help give it the E3, the E3 look, the E3 stature, if you will. So this is crazy though. I'm really, really curious to see where the industry goes as far as a summer event goes. Not having an E3 anymore. It's all on Geoff Keighley's hands now. And I'm sure he understands the responsibilities regarding that there's no longer an E3. He now holds the key to the premier summer event as far as the video game industry goes. Summer Game Fest is going to be it. And I guess we'll see how it goes, guys. It's going to be real interesting. I hope you guys found this news informative. If you did, do me a huge favor and smash the like button on the page, because this information, I feel like it's kind of going to be slipping under the radar a bit. So if you guys hit the like button, that'll help this video get out there, get information out there as far as E3 goes. It'll really help out the channel as well. And, additionally, I put out video game content, video game news all the time. As far as breaking news goes, I try to go live as quickly as I can. Depending on the circumstances, I'll make a longer video, based on, the events at hand. So check out those videos. And if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. But guys, this is crazy, crazy news. And at the end of the day, I got to say the ESA dropped the ball on this, because they should have let us know in some kind of like announcement. We should not have found out through an industry person that E3 was canceled. We should have found out that E3 was canceled through the ESA itself. No problem. I'm really happy to cover this news and this information for you guys. It's something that I hold E3 close to my heart, because like I said, I've been to the event like 3 times. So, it's something that I find is really important, and I find that's really important, especially for the video game industry itself. That's the event that everybody looks forward to every single year, as far as video game news, as far as what new games are going to be coming, as far as what release dates can we expect for these games, so on and so forth. And with that event not being held, I thought that was something that I had to go live on. Something that I had to, get the information out to you guys as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So I went ahead and decided to do this live stream. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it for sure. And then also, I didn't see too many YouTube videos out there right now either. So hopefully, now that I'm getting this information out there, hopefully, fans will be able to see this and share this information with their friends and family as well, because E3 is something that is, it's huge. It's huge for the industry. And like I said, I hope Geoff Keighley's ready, because, here we go, right? with no summer show like E3, Summer Game Fest, everyone's eyes are going to be on Summer Game Fest for 2022. Hopefully it's a great show. Hopefully we get a lot of new games announced, and hopefully we also receive, release dates as far as games that we're looking forward to as well. So it'll be quite interesting to see exactly how this goes. So at the end of the day, like I said, it's the ESA that dropped the ball on this. And I hope that they learn from this and they understand, like we found out through Will Powers, who works PR for Razer. Like, come on, man. ESA, you got to do better than that, So hopefully they learn from this and they get better as far as letting the video game industry know and letting the fans know, their fans know exactly, what's going on whenever it comes to E3, instead of having your lips shut and not saying a single word about it. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You found it informative. If you did, please smash the like button. Would sincerely appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel as well if you did enjoy this live stream. Sincerely appreciate it. And if any more news and information comes out about this, I will be sure to come live again, or additionally, I can make a video based on my reaction on this as well. So definitely keep your eyes peeled on the channel. I will be sure to keep you guys informed if any more news comes out about this for sure. So with that said, no problem, Blaza, anytime. Thanks so much for joining the stream as always, bro. Sincerely, as always, appreciate your support, bro. All the way from Germany, my man. Sincerely appreciate that, bro. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and head on out and wrap this up here. Like I said, if any of more information comes out on this, guys, I will go live or I will make an additional video on that information. Hopefully we get some kind of more information on this, but like I said, I reached out to Rebecca Valentine regarding her article as far as why E3 was canceled. I didn't get a reply on that. So, that tells me that she probably doesn't know either. So more than likely their response anyway would be because of COVID. I mean, that's just the excuse for everything nowadays, right? So that's probably the answer that she would get. So that's probably the answer that you guys would get. And I wouldn't even report on that. I wouldn't even make a video on that because that's like literally the excuse for everything these days. So, but yeah, guys, that's the news. That's the information on E3 and Summer Game Fest 2022. E3 being canceled and Summer Game Fest sliding on into the spot. Looks like sliding into the spotlight. So we'll see how it goes. For Summer Game Fest, I will be live streaming that event right here. So if you guys are aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and subscribe because I will be live streaming the Summer Game Fest right here on the Weekly Wrap Ups YouTube channel, so you won't want to miss that. And yeah, I'll be a co-streamer on that for sure, as I did last year. And now that I have a more powerful computer, shouldn't be a problem as far as streaming goes. So yeah, E3 2022 has been officially canceled. We have verified that the ESA won't be holding a physical or digital event show this year. That's from IGN. Exactly. And yeah, I covered that south earlier on in the live stream as well. I went ahead and went directly to Rebecca Valentine's article, which you pulled it up right here as well. So yeah, it's interesting. Here's the interesting part here is that instead the ESA seems to be making plans to regroup for a larger comeback in 2023. So it sounds like they want to come back, but they didn't really give a reason as to why they're not coming back this year. To me, that's what I find most interesting. Like I said, they probably would just give the generic, because of COVID-19, is why we're not coming back this year. And, that's not why. We all know that's not why. Cases are down, especially here in the United States. They're way down right now. And throughout most countries across the world, they're also down. So, but I can understand the safety and security of the world whenever it comes to that. But, I personally don't think that's why. So I don't know. Like I said, I reached out to Rebecca Valentine. She's the one that wrote that IGN article. I asked her independently on Twitter if they gave her a reason as to why they're canceling it, but she didn't reply to my tweet. So either she didn't see it or she, just doesn't know. So, but yeah, I don't know if I get a reply back from her as far as a reason goes, that is a little more newsworthy aside from because of COVID-19. I will be sure to let you guys know. I will go live or make an additional video regarding that information. But until then, that's all we got. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see at the end of the day. But yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Thanks so much for joining the stream. Had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys and breaking this news. Hopefully, I wish it was on better terms as far as it goes, but at least we still have Summer Game Fest to look forward to as far as an event goes for 2022 this summer in as far as games go. So with that said, I will check you guys in the next video. I'm A to the B Albert Perkins, and we will see you guys in the next one. And until then, and as always, guys, peace. Later on. Thanks so much for joining the stream. We'll see you guys in the next one.